Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Robbi and this is my beautiful guest Olivia. Hi. Today is our second episode of the new series that I'm doing called Miracle Mindset. So I'm super excited to have my beautiful friend Olivia on.
Thank you.
Olivia, I don't even know where to start with you. Obviously she's very beautiful. She has just blown up on socials lately and she's just as smart as she is beautiful. So I'm so excited to kind of just chat with her and also for you guys to get to know her a little bit better as well. So
my words of affirmation, they're so happy.
To get into today's episode, I thought we would do something a little bit different. I thought we would start by making an acai bowl. And one thing that you may know if you follow Olivia on social media is that she is food crazy, which I feel like that's probably why we get along so well. We both have
a very healthy lifestyle.
So acai bowl is something you have a lot. I've actually never made one, so we're going to do it. So I kind of cheated a little bit with this one. I actually bought the little pre-frozen packets.
But that's a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot easier than to actually make it.
While we're starting to cook, I thought I would ask you the question that I start every episode with, and that is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So my best piece of advice that I would say would be the 5-5-5 rule that beautiful Haley taught me. And so basically, if you're ever in a position where things are kind of hard and you want to react really fastly to the situation, you just kind of have to think like, is this going to matter in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, and so forth. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter in that long. So you just kind of like have to calm yourself down. And it's a very good calming exercise to do when you like somebody posts like a mean comment and you want to like attack them back.
You want to respond and like kind of troll back sometimes.
And you're like, this doesn't even matter. Like, it's just not even relevant enough to the situation. So just like back yourself up. And that has helped me a lot in the past, like I would say mainly like 6 months to the year, and has helped me like be a lot calmer of a person, I would say.
I think that's great advice for anybody, really. Like, you know, how many times in a day does someone make you angry and you just like, you know, like, I know. I'm a little bit fiery sometimes. Like, it takes a lot for me to get triggered, but when I do get triggered, then I'm like, okay, like, you want to do this? Like, so let's do this.
No,
but that's a really good one.
I get fiery like 5 to 10 times a day, and I'm sitting in my room like, this does not matter, this does not matter, this does not matter. Like, stop getting mad. But it definitely helps.
So you use the rule. I like it. I'm going to start using that. That's a good one. All right, so let's get started with the acai bowl. So these are pretty easy, guys. These are just basically frozen acai packets, and you basically just put them in the blender, and then that's it. You can put any toppings you want on. So let's do it.
Like a popsicle.
This is the challenge. So how long have you been living in LA now? It's like somewhat recent, isn't it?
Well, I've lived here for like a year, kind of. Yeah, I would say about a year. I moved here like last August, I would say. And then I moved like 4 different times while I lived here. And then I just moved to New York like 3 months ago. And now I just moved back to LA, but like half time.
So you're bi-coastal.
Yeah.
So for you guys who don't know, New York is actually kind of on the opposite side of America. So she's kind of coming and going.
It's like a 6-hour plane ride depending on it. So you kind of just like take the red eye and just sleep on the plane, and then you wake up and you're in LA.
So we're both actually going to New York Fashion Week, which is pretty exciting. It's actually both of our it's our first Fashion Week for New York, for both of us.
So I'm really nervous. Like, it's not even a little nervous. Like, I'm really, really, really nervous.
So straight up, I'm nervous and I'm not even walking. So she's obviously a model, so she's going to be walking in New York Fashion Week, and obviously I'm just going to be there to kind of do behind the scenes and also just attend the shows and see some of my
That's
favorite.
That's going to be so fun to
see
just
some of
watch
our
the
favorite
shows.
designers.
Yeah. For me, the whole walking thing is very nerve-wracking just because nobody really knows how to walk. Like, it's literally you walking. Like, there's not really a right and a wrong way to do it. It's just kind of like your body and how you kind of like flow. My first ever show opened and closed my show, and I was like terrified. I was like, I don't even know how to walk. Like, I didn't really get much practice in this before. And I just fully just went out and like, you know those smiles that you just cannot get off your face for like a few hours? Like, I was just like, all my smiles were just so genuine because I was so happy. I was like, what the heck is my life right now? I was like, this is crazy.
And I feel like you guys can relate to that as well. I know I definitely do, not necessarily for opening and closing a catwalk show, but for doing anything. Like, we all have those things in our life that is so hard and you just put off and you procrastinate. and then you do it, and you're like, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought, and I'm okay.
Yeah, 100%. That was me. I was like so nervous, and I did it, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with my life. Like, this is actually really good.
Well, I'm getting really hungry, so let's quickly like make up these bowls, and then we'll sit down and chat.
So you can add any liquid you want. You can add milks.
Like
You can add milk,
milk,
water,
milk.
fruits, like fruit juice. I know I've used like apple juice before.
I have orange juice.
That one tasted pretty fire.
What's the fun thing about acai is that you can literally just
make it
add
any way
or
you
take
can.
anything you like. Is that enough, do you think?
I have no idea.
Also
Let's
didn't
try.
measure.
Yes.
I don't think we should start a cooking show yet. I think we're like we have work to do.
We're not there yet.
It says a quarter cup, and I'm just like, I'm like, Welcome to Cooking with Robbi and Liv. Nice.
Oh, not bad.
We did it.
This part
The most basic part. Can we be trusted with the knife is the question.
Yes.
So we've got some freshly washed strawberries here. So you said that last night you had dinner with your girlfriend Kyla. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know we want to hear, because recently you've come out.
Yes.
So I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Where do you want like the beginning or like what part?
Any part you want to share. It's all exciting. So, how did you know, and then how was that experience?
Like that process? I would say when I first okay. So I saw her on my For You page, which is like super basic and generic.
That's actually me and Alex met on Instagram.
Yeah, a lot of people.
He DM'd me.
I'm like, I hate to say it, but like I saw her on my For You page, and which is kind of one of those moments where I was like, oh, like, do I like this girl as like my friend or like as something more than that? And whatever, just like followed her for a little bit, then we ended up seeing each other in a bookstore, and like just really trippy. Like she kind of like, we both looked at each other and we were like, I think like I know you, like we follow each other. So we just started talking, and
was this in LA or New York?
This is in LA.
Okay.
And then we literally just started talking ever since, and then just like hung out. Then we hung out for the first time. I finally got the courage to ask her to come over. I was like, hey, my house is doing like a basketball game, like movie night tonight. Like, I'd love if you came over. So she came over, and then literally since then we have hung out maybe not every single day, but like when we're long distance, not every single day, but like when we're in the same city, like we see each other at least one time throughout the day. And it's been like that for like 9 months now.
And how was that experience, like telling people?
It was a little weird, like I won't even lie, like telling your friends, and I know I've talked about this before, like normalizing coming out to your friends and like not them thinking that like you like them. Because I like told my friends, I was like, oh hey, like by the way, I never wanted my friends to think that like I was like into them, if that makes any sense.
It was like one of those things that we just talked about that you were scared of doing, and then it somehow ended up not being as bad as you thought.
Like you always think things are gonna be worse in your head. Sorry, I'm cutting up a lot of strawberries. I love strawberries.
And how did you deal, like I'm sure wherever there's good, there's also bad. So I'm sure you probably also got a few instances of like, I mean, not even necessarily people you know, but some people maybe not being positive like with their response. How did you deal with that? Because I'm sure that's a hard one to deal with.
It definitely was when I dealt with, because I told some of my friends and they just like weren't really as supportive as I was expecting them to be. Yeah, you know, like if my friend, like they came out to me as whatever, I would just be like so happy for them, and some of my friends just didn't really react like that, and I was like, oh, like I didn't really like do anything back, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like I see that's where you stand, like I see you don't support me, but like kind of just like kept my distance from them. Didn't really say anything to them, but I was just kind of like, okay, like it was fun being friends. Like bye, kind of that situation. But
well, thank you for sharing that. I know it's probably like it's like, you know,
no, it's
pretty brave to speak about. So thank you for sharing. Actually, let's finish our bowls.
Okay, you want to finish?
Let's finish our bowls and then chat.
Okay, what is this flax?
So we've got chia seeds, flax seeds, 2 different types of granola. This is chocolate bites, and these are so good.
And then those
some
are
walnuts, and then we've got some little Greek yogurt if you like.
Amazing.
So
I'm so happy right now. Like this is just like the perfect breakfast in my opinion. I love acai bowls. Like, because it's fruit. Like, I mean, there's like sugars in it, but they're not necessarily terrible sugars for you.
It's so melted.
I know.
It's
like a little
soup. It's a soup. It's a little. I need a straw, a little acai straw. Can you do it? Can you do the little sprinkle, the salt bay?
Yes. Good.
Okay, we did it. All right, bon appetit. Let's see.
Cheers.
Let's eat our acai soups. They kind of melted a little bit while we were chatting. I'm so surprised. This was really good. It doesn't look like much, but it tastes golden. Wow. So before we kind of started the conversation about not feeling guilty when you eat, and I know that this is something that I'm actually really proud of you for speaking up about, and I know it really empowers so many men and women, you know, who are going through a similar thing. I think struggling with eating and body image is something that most of us go through at some point in our lives. I know it's definitely something that I had struggled with for many, many years, and I love that you've been so open about it. So I know, you know, people would probably love to hear a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so I like being open about these things just because I never want, I mean, growing up when I grew up in like the Victoria's Secret stage where like Alexis Run was really popping, and like all of that was a very big era, and like none of the girls ever really posted their like imperfections or like what they were going through. I mean, a few of them would here and there, but it wasn't really like a normalized thing. So I want to like be that person. I always say, I guess this would also be like a really big piece of advice that I use for myself, is that I want to be the person that I needed when I was like 14 years old.
I love
when
that.
like I was just starting to be like, okay, this is what I want to like do with kind of like my life. Like modeling was like kind of starting to be a thing. So
that's so true. You know, we used to see, I remember going to the grocery checkout, and like, remember the magazines, and it would always just be like these stick skinny.
Yeah.
And like social media wasn't as big. Like I started posting on my social media in like 2011, you know, when I was literally in university. Like I didn't go through like having social media during high school and growing up. So I kind of saw like what we saw on like TV and like movies and obviously magazines. And now I love that, you know, now we're seeing diversity and real women on both ends of the spectrum, you know, like everyone's beautiful.
Especially because now it's like everything's on social media. It's like even like schoolwork is like all online. So it's like so easily ads pop up, and it's like, like you said, like stick figure girls, but it's like you don't know what that girl is going through at all. Like you don't know like if she's that skinny like healthy, or if she's that skinny like unhealthily. That's something that like they're not gonna put on like their magazine or their ad and be like, oh, this girl is like anorexic, or like what like is going through in her life. So I feel like I like to be like that type of person that's like, okay, like yes, like I do work out, like we both like very healthy lifestyles, but like I've also had this path in my life where like I went through so much and like did it like the unhealthy version and like way-in path, which is like not good at all, and like I recognize that now, and that's like why I'm able to talk about it, just because like if I can help somebody, like I want to help somebody, because it's like I can see what I went through and like recognize it. So I like to be like,
it's a big one. I feel like for me, like the way I would handle my stress was like food was a coping mechanism for me. And when it becomes that, like it becomes like a source of like something you, like, you know, when you're stressed, you automatically like, and then you feel guilty about it, and you're constantly going through this like roller coaster of emotions,
like anxiety,
and then you feel even worse, you know,
because it's like, oh, like you're gonna eat to make me happy, but then you eat and you're like, after you eat, you're like, well, that didn't make me happy at all. But like it's like a thing in your brain that you think it's gonna make you happy, but it just doesn't. So mine was more so as when I get anxiety, I can't eat. So then it's like I was getting anxiety just based off whatever, and then I couldn't eat, and then I was getting anxiety about not eating, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want people to think this about me, and then it was just like a huge roller coaster, like back and forth for like months over that. And like always saw food as like an enemy. I never saw food as like a friend, or like,
and like nourishes you.
And like I was always like, it's bad for me. Even like this type of stuff, like when it was bad, like I was always like, fruit has sugar in it, but like it's good sugar for you, like it's not bad. It was just kind of like a really big mindset thing that I started realizing. Like now I always tell people when I'm tired, I'm like, make sure I've eaten like throughout the day.
Do you get hangry?
Yes.
I get so
yes.
Me too.
And like
Alex is like, Robbi, I need to feed you.
That's how Kyla is. She's literally like, when I'm mad, she's like, do you want to go get food? I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay. So we go get like smoothies or acai bowls or sushi or something that's like will be able to fill me up for a little while.
It's a thing. It's a real thing. It's a
which
real
is bad.
Well, thank you for opening up a little bit and speaking about that.
Of course.
And you said with being hungry, I think that is probably one of the benefits of doing long distance relationships is that you actually don't have to probably deal with that as much with each other. So I know sometimes you guys are living by coastal, as we said earlier. How are you finding that long distance? Because that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It definitely is. I would say it's hard. Like, this is like my first like actual long distance relationship. I had one other one, but we were only long distance for like a short while just because COVID like slammed us. But with this one, like we didn't see each other for like a month straight. And like I'm a very like, the people that are in my life are the people that I talk to. Like if I see you on a daily basis, like I'm gonna talk to you all the time. But like, because me and my phone like aren't really friends most of the time, so I'm always like, no, get off my phone.
Yeah.
But with her, I just like, my screen time is like 10 times more because I'm FaceTiming her, calling her, like whatever it would be. Long distance as a whole, it's not terrible because of the fact that her and I are both so crazy busy all the time. And when we're in our own little spots, we're both doing exactly what we need to be doing. She's going to soccer practice, she's going to school, she's doing all her like little brand deals that she's doing on her side, and then like me, I can focus on literal fashion week that's coming up, like brands, like making myself
everything that goes on in the back end.
Yeah, like all like you see these beautiful campaign pictures, but like you do not realize what goes on behind that exact picture. It's like so much, and then it's
crazy. Like that's the thing that, I mean, as you guys know, social media is now my full job nearly for the last 2 years. But before that, I was doing dentistry. I literally work probably double the hours now. Doing my own business and my own social media.
I 100% work more than like a 9 to 5 job.
When we had the dental practice. Like it's crazy, and people like, what do you, like, you know, you post a video and sometimes we talked a little bit about hate people comment like, go get a job, stop trying on clothes or whatever. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's one of those 555. You have to hold your tongue and be like, you don't understand like the amount of work to be really successful. But it's not even about being really successful, it's about being very real and like actually making a real difference. You know, like your message is so positive, and like I feel like I aspire to have a message that, you know, changes, like just even if it just changes the perceptions of a few people, women, men, whoever it is, like what they're going through, and knowing that it's okay to be not okay sometimes, and to,
I always like to say that like it's okay to not be okay. Like you don't like, and that's one thing that like I just like preach like my friends who are also influencers to be like, to post when you're not okay. Like like people don't want to be on camera when they're not okay, but like you gotta show to these like little girls like in these random cities and countries and all of that, but like they're probably sitting in the room crying. It's like, okay, it's okay, like I'm here with you, like I want to make sure. And that's why I'm always so positive. As I love that. Like, you gotta show them like it's okay to not be okay, but you gotta turn that around and
take control of the narrative.
Yeah, and it's like even this morning, like I posted a story and it was like, this morning is just like not my morning. Like 4 different things went wrong this morning, and I was like, I thought to myself, I was like, today's just gonna be such a bad day. And I'm like, you know what? Like it's my brain, it's my day. Like I'm not going to let a few bad things happen and like let it take control of my entire day, because you can. I mean, I've definitely changed parts of my life in 24 hours. Like you can change your life in 24 hours.
And that's where the brain is so important, because the brain is so powerful. So what you start to focus on is literally what your brain will notice. Yeah. So it's like when you're gonna go fill up your car with petrol or fuel, as the Americans say, you start noticing, oh, there's a fuel station, there's a fuel station. So when you wake up and you're literally in a bad mood, you're gonna your brain is so powerful, it's gonna start noticing the negatives.
All the negatives.
So it's not to say that the positives aren't still happening. They are around you, but
you're just not.
You're just noticing like, oh, I stubbed my toe, my car ran out of petrol, the neighbor parked me, and you know, it doesn't like
all those things.
Exactly.
Like, that's definitely something this morning that was happening. It was like one bad thing happened, and it was like every other little thing, and I was like, you know what? Like they're just not that big of a deal. Like you're just making it seem worse, and I was like, you know what? You're gonna have a good day today. Just like stop freaking out about and giving yourself anxiety.
And you gave yourself that power back, because now you're seeing the positives in the day, like a super acai. Well, I think I'm probably going to cut it here so we can have our acais. But Olivia, thank you so much for being here today. I had so much fun chatting with you. Next time, we're probably going to cook something different because this, like, I mean, maybe we should do bagels because maybe...
The soup. It's a soup for me.
It's an acai soup. It's a soup for me. I'm gonna link Olivia below. She has so many incredible things coming up, Fashion Week, so many campaigns. You also might recognize her. She is also the worldwide face of Benefit Cosmetics,
Yes,
which is no surprise when you see these brows. I mean,
thank you.
So congratulations on that, by the way. So I'm gonna link her below. Definitely go check her out. She's just an incredible, powerful woman who is doing incredible things. Comment below. Let us know. Do you also get hangry, or is that just us? Are we the only ones who get very hangry?
If nobody else says they do, I'm gonna get really insecure. That's my problem. But yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you guys. I will see you very soon. Bye.